Everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to go over how to make a little application in Go that will automatically scan a directory looking for images and upload those images to a server. It's pretty straightforward and it's all in one file. So let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so here we are back in my photo slideshow application, and we will jump right into the image automation program that I wrote. This is a Go application, and like I said, it's all done in one file. So the rest of this stuff is just setting up Go modules. And if you want to see a video for how to do that, I'll put a card up here, and you can click on that and see how to set up a basic Go application. But here in main.go is the entire thing. I am using a package called Go-Fswatch. It is compatible with all different operating systems, and it just made it very easy to set this up. We're checking for a couple environment variables which are needed in order to fire this thing up. I give it the source directory, which is where it's looking for the images, and then the destination URL, which is the URL where it's supposed to post the images. And if you've been watching this series from the beginning, you'll know when I covered the server part, I talked about how we can set the password here. This is how it's setting the password so it's allowed to upload the images. It's just in the URL. It's very straightforward. In this application, there's really not a whole lot to it. I will tell you, like, again, I whipped this together pretty quickly. I started with this whole cookie jar thing, and the idea behind the cookie jar was that you were going to log in and then it was going to remember by setting in a cookie. I scrapped all that. The cookie jar stuff is just left here. It's not even in use, so you could skip over that completely if you'd like. I set just a very simple variable. This is recurse, which means should you look inside of all the directories inside this folder to look for image changes. In my case, the camera was just taking photos and putting them in one directory, so I could leave that false. We're gonna set another variable here to say skip.files. That means, like, don't look for things that are like hidden files and things. It's pretty straightforward. This is all in the example from Go-Fswatch. We check the interval here, so this is 1 second, meaning every second it's just looking for new images. It's a polling pattern. This works well on all operating systems, and it's the reason that I chose it. There are other ways to do this, listening for file system events, but if you listen for file system events, they don't work across all operating systems, and they're notoriously bad on macOS. So this is a macOS computer. It was running macOS on that machine. I just left it that way and used this package. All right. Now we set up the folder watch. Pretty straightforward. Fswatch, new folder watch. You give it the source directory, which you set up top. Set recurse to false. Skip.files and folders. And we have the check interval, which is 1 second, right? So this is just setting up this whole thing. Now we do folder watch start, which is telling it to start scanning. And then we do, for as long as it's running, it's going to continue to loop through this process. Changes are passed from a Go routine through to this changes variable using a channel. So this channel is pushing through here to changes. Just for the sake of making sure I didn't lose my mind if I had to debug this during the party, I just printed out a few things, right? So it printed out the changes, and then we print out new, modified, and moved. All I'm really looking for here is new files. So we go through and we range over all the new files that came through in that push, because every scan might return multiple files. If 5 photos were taken in 1 second, you're going to get 5 photos here. So you have to do 4, and we're going over the new changes. And then in a Go routine for each one of these, I am taking the file. We're opening the file. This must open. I just created down here at the bottom. It's pretty straightforward. It's going to open the file or it's going to return an error. We open the file. If there's an error, we return the error, and we just return. I didn't do a whole lot of error handling here. If it breaks, it breaks, and it just continues to go. It won't crash. It'll just fail to upload that one photo, and whatever, it's good enough. So next, we set up the values in a new IO reader, and we set the open file, open file, and then we upload the file. So I've created a function down below called upload. We'll go over that in just a second here. But upload takes the client, which we need the HTTP client, the destination, which is from up top there, and then the values, which is, again, it's the map string IO reader. All right, so this is the upload function, and like I said, like you can see here in the notes, I totally stole this from somebody else. I just went online and I said, hey, how do I upload information so it looks like post data from a form? So that's what this is actually doing. It needs to It's not a normal JSON post. It's actually like multi-part form data, just like a person using the app that we created in the previous episode. It's just gonna run it that way. So essentially, what this is doing is this is preparing a form that'll submit to the URL, and you can see it runs through setting up some buffers and creating the form file and the field and all that stuff and copying the data to it. Close the writer. Now that we have that information, we can create the new request. So we create a new post request, and then we set the content type, and then we do the submit. If the response is anything other than status created, we say bad status, and it just returns. It says that there was an error with the upload, and otherwise it just gives you the success response. This just runs. I mean, honestly, I wrote this, didn't even try it once. I fired it up and it worked. Like I said, Google's your friend. I stole a whole bunch of stuff here from the internet, especially this one here, so I can this up. Just a question from somebody, random person. I'm trying to upload images from my computer to a website using Go. Usually I use a bash script that sends the file and blah, blah, blah. And then this very nice person here who I will shout out, Attila O, essentially wrote the whole thing. And you can see I copied it word for word, just grabbed it and threw it up there. All right, that's the automation application part of this whole system. It's the little application that runs on the laptop along with the camera that's running the photo booth. In the next episode, I am going to run through the build and deployment process of this entire application. We will use build tools like Docker, just some shell scripts, and Helm charts to set this up and completely install it on GCP. Until next time, happy coding.